In the spring of 2025, we took a Viking romantic Danube River cruise. We started at Regensburg, Germany. This little town is a very interesting place to visit and turned out to be our favorite place after Budapest. The Villa Park is right along the banks of the Danube and where the Viking boat docks. The park owes its name to the royal mansion of King Maxwell II of Bavaria, who built it as his summer residence in the middle of the 19th century. But he didn't spend a whole lot of time here. You can walk through the park and come into the old town through a gate or walk along the Danube for a 5-minute walk into the old town area. The Goliath building is a former house castle, originally built in 1260. The Cathedral of St. Peter, built from 1275 to 1524, is one of the most important Catholic churches in Bavaria. It has 14th century stained glass windows and 2 Romanesque chapels in the adjoining cloisters. Regensburg was made a bishopric in 739 and shortly afterward became a capital of the Carolingians, for those familiar with the Dan Brown books. The cathedral did suffer some minor damage during the Allied bombings. Regensburg was declared a free imperial city in the Duchy of Bavaria from 1245. That means they didn't answer to the local duke, but to the Elector of Bavaria, a powerful figure within the Holy Roman Empire. Regensburg was extremely prosperous in the 12th and 13th century. It was taken by the Swedes and later by imperial troops in the 30 Years' War in the 17th century, and was suffered its most destruction by the French in 1809. The stone bridge built 1135 to 1146 across the Danube, constructed during medieval times, has withstood wars and only required repairs but never a replacement. They made good use of the landings on the supports because they put grinding mills on them. The statue, known as the Bruckmendel on the Regensburg stone bridge, is believed to be looking towards the Regensburg Cathedral. According to the local legend, the statue represents a bridge builder who bet that his bridge would be completed faster than the cathedral. He was allegedly looking at the cathedral to see how construction was progressing. There was a small but busy sausage place that was here when the bridge was being built and served food to the workers, and it's still there. And you should really try one. It's really good. There was a Dachshund festival going on. They really like those dogs here. The most interesting part, at least to us, is the Old Town area. Unlike many places in Germany where the Old Town areas were destroyed by Allied bombings, but there was a Messerschmitt factory outside the city area, and that was bombed by the Allies, but it left the Old Town medieval center almost intact. The town suffered more damage during the Napoleonic War than it did during World War II, where an entire section across the Danube and across the bridge was almost totally destroyed. This section is the Jewish quarter. These are some stumbling stones that list some of the Jews who were murdered by the Nazis during World War II. The Jews in this area were persecuted and expelled many times during the city's history. Regensburg was home to a large Jewish population, possibly even the first Jewish settlement in Germany, from about 1000 until they were expelled the first time in the 15th century. The synagogues in Regensburg were destroyed many times right up until the end of World War II and rebuilt in other areas more than once. Synagogues were completed in 1227, 1841, and again in 1912. Each destroyed most recently by the Nazis on November 9, 1938, during Kristallnacht. Oster Schindler lived here for a few years after the war. In the area of the old city was a Celtic settlement called Ratisbona, which later became the site of a Roman stronghold and camp, Castra Regina, founded around 179 CE. The Roman North Gate and parts of the wall still survive. Some of the buildings in this area were former Nazi SS and Gestapo headquarters. One is now a police station. As the war was lost and the Nazis were leaving the town, some citizens asked the SS not to destroy the town, and for their efforts they were executed. There is a small marker for them in the town where they were murdered. As in many of these European cities and towns, there are a lot of various churches almost on top of each other. I didn't get the name of all of them. Just to add a little more information on Oskar Schindler, although we consider him a hero today, after the war there was still the chance that he would be considered a war criminal and arrested. He left Germany for Argentina after the war because, being a former member of the Nazi Party, he became involved in espionage activities. He was financially destitute after the war, struggling to recover from the expenses incurred while saving the Jewish workers. Schindler's post-war ventures were all unsuccessful, and he was largely dependent on financial support from Jewish organizations and the Jews he and his wife saved. This area along the Danube is prone to flooding, and there are markers on the buildings showing the water heights throughout the centuries. A Protestant church was originally built on the site of a Jewish synagogue. The synagogue was destroyed after the expulsion of Jews in 1519, and the Protestant church was built on the site in the 16th century. St. Cassian's in Regensburg is the oldest parish church, dating back to 885. This church is so out of the way you almost accidentally come across it, but its interior is amazing. It's almost impossible to cut this video to 10 minutes. There is so much to see in this small old town area. Regensburg is known for its love of dachshunds, particularly due to the Dachshund Museum. There is an annual dachshund parade, or at least I think it's annual, but it recently earned a Guinness World Record for the largest dachshund walk. This fascination is rooted in the breed's historical association with Germany, where they were first bred for hunting badgers. I don't get it, but they love it.